Okay, guys. I know I have not made a video for a while. I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday and the next week coming. Now, here's the thing. I've been stepping back from trying to figure out how I can do things better, and my mind just expanded from a whole new level of thinking and setting goals and rearranging things as I see fit, how I want things to go. Of course, when you set goals, nothing will ever. You have to face the fact that things can go wrong, and you will, whether it's a dream that you're trying to go forth and you put forth with all you got, but things doesn't go right. Don't give up then. You know, I I wanted to give up many times when I wanted to do an interview, and still am, because it's not easy to be able to reach out to people and you get rejected. But it doesn't matter. You have to keep going for your dreams and stuff like that. So what this has to do? I got this amazing book that Jackie Chan. Well, it's an autobiography, and before all those entrepreneur that I look up to, all those personal development, self help, all those people that I look up to was because I look up to great entrepreneurs now. Uh, that would be Gary Vee, um, well, still is Bob Proctor and many other. And there are people who I'm grateful for also because they let me do the interview. I'm so grateful for that. And all these interviews that I do are the aspect of me and who I am and who I was. I used to be so passionate about, I still am to the degree, but not as passionate when I was younger. When I was younger, I did a lot of I was passionate about martial arts. I was passionate about kung fu, you know, and but you know because it was a crazy story where my ex didn't like me doing martial or kung fu at the time because I used to like show off. But I used to do those things and show up to people, but I don't do those things anymore. It's because it's fun. It's stuff to do. It fascinates people some way, you know. And but here's the thing. I still am to the degree I look up to Jackie Chan, but now I dive deeper to I don't a lot of people who look up to Bruce Lee. A lot of people look up to Bruce Lee. Um, I for say I didn't look up to Bruce Lee. Now I'm looking up to him because as I interview, Jeet Kune Do, Kung Fu Master, um, Ron Balicki, and I dive a little bit more deeper of what Jeet Kune Do is for philosophy because I bought his book. Uh, I bought Ron Balicki book and it's very fascinating. I really highly recommend anybody who's into Jeet Kune Do buy his book. Um, and is it here? Because I usually it's here, Jeet Kune Do, right? Now I was that deep to Bruce Lee philosophy, and it's very fascinating how this man thinks. He's so open, you know. If we were more open, we would have been doing amazing things. But anyhow, I looked up to Jackie Chan because he did martial arts, and he's different in a lot of ways than Bruce Lee or anybody. I mean, of course, everybody have Jet Li, and I used to watch a lot of I remember I used to. If you don't know what his Walker is, Chuck Norris is in that. Was it Texas Walker, something like that? I love that. But most of the thing that I used to watch was, of course, when I was little, I used to watch a lot of Pokemon. I used to collect Pokemon cards. I know that's off topic, um, but I used to watch a lot of Jackie Chan film and Jet Li film because it had to do with like the way they move their body, right? Most people most it's like it's how they put it together and how like Itman, right? Itman 1 and 2, it's amazing. And so but the thing is when we think of these amazing creatures, amazing people, we think of that they have talent and we don't, right? So usually my channel is about personal development. It's making it possible. Sometimes the impossible seems so far out of reach, right? Sometimes I do that too. Like I think like, wow, these guys are so far reach. But anything that can happen will happen if you just persist, if you just keep on going and never quit. It's about everything in life. If we wanted to build a dream, a dream lifestyle that you want, it is about persistence. It's about pursuing something of greater significant, because we all, some people said they don't have much time, they want more time, and or most people are living on borrowed time, right? And some people, so here's the thing with this, whether job or a thing or whatever that you do doesn't make you happy, what is it that will make you happy? What is the passion that you have for yourself that you pursue? Like, when I listened to Jackie Chan, his video a while back, he motivated me to see that he's not a know-it-all. He's humble. A lot of people who, um I like him and I loved him because he's so humble. He see life differently. Um how he take his thing approach. You know, he came from nothing. And what made me relate to him more when I read his book is this: if it wasn't one thing, it was another. I never did any homework. I uh, tear my tear my good school clothes in fights, or scramble up in my special shortcut. I threw my books and school bag off the peak, giving no thought to the fact that my parents would only have to buy me new ones each time I faced the music, lecture, spanking, night in the trash room with shrunk and smart. You know, I think he came from a poor background. That's I, that it relate to me because I came from a poor background. For those of you who came from poor background, it's not about the resources; it's how resourceful you are to achieving your dream. Over the years, you know, I didn't have all those things that make you quote unquote successful. But what I do have is more like a drive, right? Because I put myself in a situation where my back is against the wall, and the only way that I can go to succeed is up. I can't go backwards. You know, I can't do it. Every time when I step on a stone, or not step on, like if I keep stepping up and up, it's it's because I didn't like the way that most people live their life. Sure, they most people, they say that they hate their job, but they're still stuck in that, and they're bondage by time and money. And I used to work a long time ago. I used to was jaded by a job that took hours, so most people would like free time, right? And I did too. And I wanted more time for myself. So anyway, that's long story short. That's why I look up to a successful entrepreneur now, because they are building the lifestyle that they want. And what they say, you gotta look up to successful people and do what they do. And that's why I start interviewing people from kung fu masters, from Wing Chun Chaoga, Jeet Kune Do, from artists, production manager for Teen Titans, and top entrepreneurs and expert. They're all expert, best-selling authors. It's because it's what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how. So Jackie Chan was he wasn't talented. He was like kind of like because he said in his book he was jack of all trade, right? And we think that jack of all trade is bad. Focus on one, right? Um, there are I found out that there's a lot of people who do lots of things, and I look up to Jackie Chan because this guy can sing, he can do martial arts, he does stunts, um, well, no, and he's knowledgeable and he's humble and he's funny. That's why I look up to him. And that back in his old days of training, they had discipline, and so that's why I try to, so I can like read, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, so I can build more discipline, more more resilient to things, in day to day, back to back, when we try to, or not try to, are doing our dream, we will have uh, tough days, right? And sometimes we have to read something or listen to motivational video or messages to bring our spirit up and rise again. And most of the days, you wanted to create a lifestyle that you wanted for yourself. That doesn't necessarily you want it to be rich. It can be. Not necessarily you want someone else's lifestyle, but it's yours. Like, lifestyle is how you want it to see. So that's why I stepped back from life, and I wanted to view how would I wanted to do things from this forth. And I was thinking um, more of a experiment, because I was reading Sam Walton book, and that, these billionaires, most people think billionaires or millionaires are not good or evil, or they're not nice, but they give money away to charity or to good causes, and they're very competitive. But for me, Chai Chen, I look up to the most because he came he came from nothing, and he built wealth. But it wasn't about wealth. He was struggling, and he didn't speak any English. He didn't have talent. But is that drive that, people criticize him, people say things to him. I remember I watched a video, and um, he made himself learn the thing that people say he cannot learn, and that made me look at how I do things in my life now. Like, it's if he can, if he's the type of guy that I look up to, then it's not about it's not about becoming him. It's about putting his stuff part of me, right? And sometime we wanted to do something great in our life, and then sometimes we're afraid to do it, right? Because of rejections, or we don't have enough time. But if we care about enough about the thing that we care about, our dreams, then we make the time for it. Otherwise, we will never have time for the dreams and hopes, because our dream make us feel alive. Dream give you meaning. Dream give you drive. Dream give you a life that make you more happier. Because in if you don't make time for your dreams, then who will be who if you don't make time for your dream, right? All the time that you built on someone else's dream, it will take away from building yours. Today is the day that you built yours. Today is the day that you say, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to go after my dream. He was born in April 7th, 1954, the only son of Charles and Li Chan. They named me Chan Kusang, which means born in Hong Kong Chan. Just my parents weren't very original when it came to names, or maybe they just wanted to celebrate their relief and making it to Hong Kong. As a survivor of Breathless, escape from turmoil of mainland Hong Kong was the promised land, a place where that offered safety and prosperity, a place where new lives could begin. By the Chinese calendar, 1954 was the year of the horse. According to the superstitious, the horse is the sign of energy, ambition, and success. It's a good year to be born in your boy, not just a good one if you're a girl. Because tradition says that female horse will have trouble finding a proper husband, and my parents were happy that I came into the world under just a fortunate sign. Of course, my arrival in the year of the horse was hardly a coincidence. Actually, it took an awful lot of stubbornness on my part to pull it off. Most babies are born 9 months after being conceived. I, on the other hand, stuck around an extra 3 months until my mother was forced to go to a surgeon to bring me into the world, kicking and screaming by Curzon's section. Maybe it was my rebellious streak that made me refuse to join my parents on time, or maybe it was a promotion of what my future would be. Oh, after all, while comfortably inside my mother, I had a prophecy, sleep, and all the food I could ever ask for, without having to fight for or work or suffer. In fact, I can honestly say that those 3 extra months were the extra easiest time of my life. Nothing like that waited for me in the world outside Hong Kong. In the '50s was a hard and restless place, and my family position there was at the bottom of the social ladder, among the thousands of destitute migrants who fled to the British colony after the mainland communist revolution. Still, as poor as we were, we felt lucky to have survived China's civil war, and especially grateful that my parents had good jobs in the strange new city of um, Iceland. Many of our fellow refugees had arrived in Hong Kong with nothing but the clothes on their back and the memories of what they left behind. They leave in second the island. It was in bad time. It was bad time to be poor. But then again, when it is it ever good time to be poor? As the crowd of new immigrants grew, the colony's swelling population divided itself into two groups: the determined and the desperate. On the one hand, there was those who embraced silly, unspoken philosophy: work hard and you will survive, do well and maybe even get rich. But meanwhile, in the lower parts of the city, the lives of many of our fellow newcomers were filled with hunger, crime, and fear. We belonged to the first group, the lucky ones. Soon after coming to the island, my father and mother had found employment with the French ambassador to Hong Kong, a kind gentleman with a warm and caring family. Dad became the ambassador cook and handyman. My mother was the housekeeper. And so when I was born, I found myself not on the top streets of lower Hong Kong, but in a mansion on exclusive slope of Victoria Peak, the home of the wealthy, the famous, the powerful. Me? I don't recall the house itself too well. It was big, I remember, and it's very grand. In the front room, well-dressed Westerners and some Chinese would chat and take tea or listen to music. Upstairs, the ambassador family had their quarters, huge room with high ceilings and windows that opened up into the lights of the city below. But I didn't see these parts of the house very often. This was a very different world from the one in which my family lived. Our place was near rear of the mansion, divided from the air and light of the front by a small door. If you were to open that door and pass through, you would find yourself in a long, narrow hall that ran along the length of the house, the highway of our world. It was usually dark in that corridor, except when meals were being served, so it might be easier to find your way around by smell and sound by sight. To your right, the first door of corridor, the noise of chopping and seasoning, and occasional curse, the aroma of roasting meat and vegetables simmering in frank peanut oil. That would be the kitchen, where my father spent his morning and afternoon preparing food for the ambassador family. Farther down the corridor, the soft slush of trickling water and sweet melody of a home folk song. The laundry room where my mother watch mountain of fluffy white linens and the family fine, beauty clothing, and then the smell of incense and wood and dry grass. The gentle nose of an infant breathing. This would be our family bedroom, where my mother and father and I slept together. Yeah, so he didn't, as he wrote in his book, you can hear that he wasn't, you understand that he wasn't, came from the wealth. So we have to train our mind to see that these people that we call success once in a long time ago they came from nothing. They were at the bottom of the social ladder and yet they make it. And how did they make it is the mindset of how that they can do what they set their mind to achieve. But it's about the daily action, but also it's about the zooming back from time to time to make it better. It's about expanding on the knowledge. It's about believing that you can do it. It's about much more. If we understand that life is much more than the thing that society or people put onto it, it's much more than that. It's about creation, the creation of video, creation of an art, creation of a self-expression, creation. If we can do that, then it will make you happy. It isn't not what society definition of you should win, nor is it your whatever your definition of your family they think you should win. It's how you see it. And as I go through this, I expand more of my goals because my goals were more like trying to see because I have a drive. that I want to do, and I want to inspire people to do something, and I'm on that path, right? And it's not going to be easy because when you know, I, you know, all the accumulation of the thing that was a disappointment to me, I it was really tough, right? I get upset too. I mean, I say that it doesn't bother, but it does, like, toward, like, it accumulate over time when I get so many rejections because of my views, because of my subscriber, because they think that views and subscriber count, but it's how they are. If most people don't understand how, right? It's about much more than just a view or subscriber. It's about impacting people to live a life that is much more better than they are now. Most people are trapped by society way of thinking. It's not always easy to when you talk. I have a great conversation with two people. I wanted to make a video that day, and I wanted to. It was sad to me that they could have been doing better. I talked to a worker in a grocery store. They could have been doing better, and I was sad. Like, all our life, we could have been doing better. But we made the choice to do something that of because every action that we do have a consequences for either good or bad. The cause and effect thing. But every action that we do today had a consequences will be tomorrow or later. It'll be a future that we want or don't want. And this video, if you're watching this, Jackie Chan, I'm looking for you. Why? Because I look up to you and I want to meet you in person one day. And most people would laugh at that because most people believe that it's impossible. Hey, most people do things that it would be impossible to you when you see that. But it's not impossible per se. It's how you think it and how you act upon it. Today I want you to bring more joy and bring what you want for your life. You want to meet famous people, you want to do something great, then it got to start somewhere today. It doesn't start a year later. Perhaps you don't have a year later. Perhaps you don't have the time. Well, most people don't have the time. So when will ever it be the time to do your dream? I think it's about time today, right? Anyway, I'll probably do more of the reading of this book. Chaggy Chan, you see this video, like this video, okay, and share it, okay? Thank you. I love you, man. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Subscribe to my channel, like my video because I do book reviews. Trying to get into interviews and personal development, self-help stuff because it's about developing the mind to become more successful. Developing the mind to do what you want to do. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.